Here we go. Welcome one, welcome all. I am Sprometheus, the internet's unfriendliest barista, and today we're back with part 2 of my Olympia Cremina restoration, rebuilding, whatever you want to call it, project machine. Now, it has been some time since we touched on this project, and that's for a couple reasons. For one, I just have other videos I want to produce, but it does kind of drive me nuts to have it sitting across the room from me and just staring at it and being like, wow, I want that to work. I just want to get in there and mess around with it, but I didn't. I resisted the urge and I did it for you. The other thing I did do that would not be fun content is searching around for parts. And so I have been collecting some parts. We'll cover some of those bits here shortly. And doing a little bit of research, again, stuff we'll cover in a little bit. So yeah, we have made some progress, just no physical progress to the machine itself. I want to save that for the videos, but I will be digging into this new Cremina, or my new to me Cremina, old to the world Cremina, relatively shortly. But first, a quick word from this video's sponsor. In my humble opinion, the perfect companion to a fresh cup of coffee is no longer a pastry, it's a publication. Standart magazine is an independent, coffee-focused quarterly that brings together all the elements of the global coffee community in one place, shining a light on stories and faces, new tech and innovations in the industry, as well as the personal and artistic experience of coffee culture overall. And to sweeten the deal even further, it comes with a sample of coffee from some of the best roasters on the planet. So as a longtime reader and even longtime partner of Standart magazine, I'm happy to be able to offer you $5 off your very own subscription when you go to standartmag.com/Sprometheus or use code Sprometheus at checkout. And if you're still on the fence, you can actually try Standart today for just the cost of shipping. There's not much to lose, and trust me, there's a lot to gain. All right, before we get too deep into it, stuff's still a little dirty. Let's get these guys on. Maybe a little small or something, I don't know. All right, so we were able to break the piston free from the group, as well as the, piston base.
A few inches later.
The group, though, the chrome has seen some better days. Let's take this guy off real quick. But there are a couple spots that I don't think are going to buff out. And one was with a ball peen hammer. As you can see, maybe it's better to see from this side because that's where it's kind of peeling up at. But there is some damage here from the ball peen hammer, sort of hitting it, and so it's kind of picking up off the brass group head. Generally, it looks like it's in pretty good shape, but because of some of the rough spots and because of my fateful hammer swing there, this is probably going to be re-plated. I still need to take it to a place and see, as long as I can maintain some level of like the tight tolerances. Obviously, if they plate it too aggressively or too thickly, some stuff isn't going to fit on or in this, so it needs to maintain, tolerance, I guess. As I mentioned, this is going to be replaced as well. There was some damage that occurred with this guy, but to try and get this through the group, I screwed on something here, hoping that it would save these threads. As you can see, the top thread's a bit mushed, and you can see that obviously the top of it's got like a bit of a indent. So I figured, okay, we're gonna replace this guy. This is the original piston, of course. So that's no big deal. Actually a pretty inexpensive replacement. But let's look at some of the newer parts we've got to replace. First up, we've got a portafilter. Portafilters are always very expensive for some reason. So this portafilter I got from Serini, this is about $200 for this portafilter alone, 20 some odd dollars for the basket. So, but it fits, it's a good match. I may end up replacing all the plastic anyway with some kind of wood down the line, but overall, it will help us make espresso, and anything that does that is, in my book, a positive. Also, we've got a power cable. This is, I think, a 16 gauge power cable, which is a bit of a heavier gauge than the original, I believe, but I wanted to have something a little heavier, a little more robust. Plus, I was able to find on Amazon that they sell cables with like the unused end, so I don't have to cut a cable, strip it, do all that stuff. This basically comes ready to wire, which again, I've never done before, but I think any steps that I don't have to do is also a win in my book. And I think this thing was like maybe $16 on Amazon. So, and it can hold, you know, the amperage that this thing creates. So all in all, this is a win. A small piece that we needed was also a safety valve. This guy goes up above the sight glass, and it's an important piece of the puzzle for any espresso machine, for that matter, any powered espresso machine. So we're going to install that. That should be fairly straightforward. Famous last words. Here's my just trusty bag of replacement bits. So as I mentioned, I got new screws. These are intended for the group, and they are Allen screws as opposed to having those little tiny alligator clips, which will be nice. A lot of those pieces that were damaged, these were relatively inexpensive. I think like altogether, maybe 50, 60 bucks, something like that, or less. So figured why not replace them. And because parts have been so difficult to come by with this machine, I just feel like this makes the most sense is to just modify it with newer, you know, cleaner, easier parts to use, as opposed to trying to replace it with stuff that's very difficult to find, and in most cases sold out if they can find it. This is the steam valve complete, and there is a story behind this piece. Now, the story is, this is my second one that I've purchased. The first one I bought and had to return because this section is where the magic happens, it appears. Of course, there is a full steam valve in here. I bought it as a complete set. The first one I bought wasn't long enough. It didn't fit in the frame far enough through to where I can cap this section off. So you may be wondering, how does the steam make it through the valve and out into the wand? This crossbar on top of the boiler, or by the boiler, is actually used to carry the steam to the steam valve and to the wand, you know, respectively. So inside this little crossbar, there's a small hole. And that hole is supposed to be carrying steam into this guy. And if you look at pictures of the steam valves that are designed for this style of machine, this age range or whatever you'd want to call it, they have a hole right here. And it's actually flat. It's like a flat piece. I could not find those anywhere. A lot of searching, a lot of frustration. So I bought this one, measured the distance, and now I'm gonna have to take this to either my brother's shop or a machine shop and drill a hole, essentially like right in here, to make it so I can actually use it as a steam valve. So that's the story there. All right, so that is more or less the status of where we are and what we're doing, or I guess part-wise. But today, like I said, I want to finish getting this guy fully taken apart. So let's just try to remove the rest of these pieces, the frame, the pressure stat, which is this guy right here, if you're not familiar. See if we can not break anything, and then kind of see what we're working with from there. Thankfully, these little nuts back here on holding the faceplate on are more or less finger tight, because I don't really have a socket that small. I can't get my fingers in there, so I'm gonna have to take this guy off first. So let's remove the pressure stat. That one was a bit on the tighter end. As you can see, the brass from here looks pretty good, considering it was covered for who knows how many years. But also it does need to be unclipped. But for now, we're gonna let that be so I can double check that before I break something. We'll see if we can get this guy undone. Well, that appears to be a success. Easy as pie. Have to look up how to refurb stainless steel, but this does appear to be in pretty decent shape. It's not bent or damaged in any way, so we'll see if we can make this thing shine again. All right, next up, we're going to aim to take off just this entire boiler section. So it looks like we've got another screw right there. It's easier than anticipated. Note to self, bring a smaller screwdriver to the party. All right, next up we've got these little Allen bolts. Looks like there's one on this side, two over here. They also have a little nut behind them. So we'll see how these come off. They look a little bit rough. These ones appear to have some motion. Let's try this guy. Just gotta grab this nut. Hey, we did it. Look at that. Just needed a little bit of positive thinking, you know? We now officially have a mostly free boiler outside of the wiring, so we're gonna have to figure out the wiring removal next. All right, and I think first up I should try to remove stuff from here, because I think this is probably the most fragile removal process. So let's see what we can do here. Oh, I don't like that noise, but looks like it came off. Here we go. Last one. This does not have a wire connected to it. Now I think the question is, how does this come off? So let's just pop this guy off completely. Okay. So now we move back to wire removal, because the frame is almost completely bare now. Guy's done. All right, we now have what they call in the industry a loose boiler. So we're gonna see if we can get these guys off of here. These ones are definitely a little more tight, but I think they're coming off. Here we go. I just need to get a little bit more leverage. We have a pressure stat that is free. Let's just put that in the bin. I do need to also remove the clip behind this light. I think this is a ceramic piece that they don't make anymore. And then if I damage this, it means I have to get a whole different light setup, which also means I have to get a whole different faceplate. So we'll pause on removing these wires until I can figure out a safe way to do that. If you, of course, know how to do that, leave it in the comment section down below. All right, so now that we have like the frame fully broken down, what I want to try to do is get the feet off, and then maybe try and peel this guy off with like the heat gun and some dental floss. But I want to be able to clean this guy off fully and take it to get stripped and powder coated. But with the feet, some of them are loose, as you can see here. Yeah, that's just interesting. It's just a plain little block with a screw through it. Let's see if we can get lucky again, huh? Nope, that one's fully torqued down. This one's fully torqued down. Oh, and that one's not. Okay, so let's see if we can get this guy out. Just the pure lazy way, I guess. Okay, we've got the entire frame fully down to the frame. We're gonna break out the heat gun in a minute to try and get this off. But first, let's try to finish the boiler. Now this is where I think things could get interesting, and seeing what's inside here, and of course the state of the element and things like that. So I guess here goes nothing. Oh, that's surprisingly loose. 4 down, 2 to go. Here we go. Anticlimactic. Of course, there's definitely some scale on here. This O-ring, of course, is Garbo. You can see there is some scale obviously built up on the bottom here, but that should come off with a little bit of citric acid, no problem. Not too bad. The element looks like it's salvageable, maybe. I'm not seeing any like cracks or parts where it's burst, so there's that. Not too bad. All right, so as you can see, it looks not too bad in there. We're still gonna citric acid it, everything like that, but there's no scale buildup to speak of. Looks like it's been descaled, minus there's like a little bit down like around this little lip, but otherwise not too shabby. But on that note, that semi-anticlimactic ending, honestly, it's good news for me that things inside the boiler look pretty good. But we're going to wrap it up here. And of course, I'm going to show you just a short montage of all of the before and afters of some of the parts I've been able to clean up since then. Of course, we've cleaned a lot of the stainless steel. We've taken off badges. We're using very careful methods of heat guns and old cards to try and pry it off. We were able to do that very cleanly and actually relatively easily. And, you know, things are looking pretty good, including the boiler, which actually came out really nice after some quick micro mesh polishing from 1500 down to 12,000 grit. So it actually came out looking pretty good, especially compared to what it used to look like for a 48-year-old boiler. But on that note, we're gonna start wrapping this one up here. And of course, I'm hoping this series won't last too much longer, maybe 2-3 more episodes before we get this thing up and running, fingers crossed. So with that, I'm going to say farewell. Drop your comments, questions, and concerns, what your thoughts are in the comment section down below. And as always, I'll see y'all in the next video. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Hit that little bell button for notifications when new videos drop. Check out my Instagram at Sprometheus for more coffee content. Help support the channel by considering becoming a member for unique exclusive perks. And as always, stay caffeinated. Pony Boy